Hi, my name's Danielle and I'm an independent gazette consultant in Tassie, and I'd like to share with you a few things about our Belisha Easy Press. This is our Easy Press. It's an A4 size die cutting machine. It comes with our pads that I use for our cutting and embossing. I've done a video, a basic overview video, so you can check that out and see what the different pads are used for. So basically our machine can lock into place, and we have plates that slide out front and back, and carry handle and a handle on the end, which is nice and easy to use. And along the front here are our basic instructions of our pad combinations, so an easy quick reference. And there are lots and lots of things you can do with it, so come and join me for a project. This is the card I'm going to demonstrate for you today. This is using vellum. So I've made a vellum border and some vellum flowers, which I'm going to show you how to make. Okay, so the actual, you can see this has got 5 little scallop pieces. The actual die has only got 4. So what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to fold my piece of card to create, my piece of vellum, sorry, to create that extra length. So what we actually need to do, I'll just put our base pad A down there so that you can see. What I'm going to do is fold it in half. But when I position it, I'm actually going to position it so that the folded edge is just before the cutting line. So you'll see that little cutting line there? That's the edge of my die. It's where it's going to cut it off. So I'm going to position my vellum so that it's just before, I really don't know if you can see that, but it's just before the cutting line, so that it actually isn't going to cut through. I'm going to have a little overlap, a little fold there, so that I can create my double layer. Now the good thing is this is a thick paper die, so you can do this with multiple layers of vellum, but you do have to remember, if you're folding your papers, that you don't exceed the recommended weight for the dies. 400 GSM for our thick paper dies and 250 GSM for the standard paper dies. So just keep that in mind if you are creating something where you've folded your paper. I'm using cutting pad D on top, and I'm just going to wind it through slowly because it has got all those little holes in it, and I want to make sure that they cut through nicely. We went. And it's a thick paper die, and because I'm cutting into such a thin piece of paper, it has stuck into my mat, which it's meant to do. That's perfectly normal. And if you look there, you can see that it hasn't cut off the end there. So what we're going to do, we'll just peel off our vellum. Now be very careful, because vellum B is a lot thinner than any other of our papers. Okay, so you may need a paper piercer just to get in underneath so that you can peel up the vellum. And very carefully, because of all those little holes, peel it off. Okay, now all of our vellum has stuck into our little holes in there. So you grab your paper piercer and you just flick them out, making sure that you're probably going to have 2 layers on most of those. So you just flick them out, and it's a really good idea to do that soon after you've done it so that you don't forget. Okay, and any holes that have actually stayed in your paper, push your paper piercer through them and then they'll just come off. So sometimes they stick to your die, sometimes they stick to your in your die cut. So then we can open it out, and we've got a long border. So you're not limited to just that one little, the 4 scallop length. You can do a longer one. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do, we're going to ink up a little border. So what I'm going to do is grab my barn door distressing and a blending tool, and I'm just going to gently ink up my vellum. Now this takes a little bit of time to dry because it's distress ink onto the vellum, but it adds a really nice subtle effect, I find. So you just colour in as many scallops as you want. You can colour them all in, and if you want to make it darker, I find if you just tap it, it makes it a bit darker. Okay, so there's a little coloured strip. I'm just going to sit that aside to dry. I'm going to get on to making our flowers. These are some, I've made some small ones already. These are using our small circle punch, a little purple one. So that's what those ones are done with. So I'm going to show you how to make the big one because it's just a bit easier to demonstrate. What you need to do, you have a piece of vellum, you're going to fold it in half. Okay. Fold it in half. You can make a quite nice crease because it actually adds the centre of our little petals. And what you're going to do, I'm just going to take the cover off my punch because it's easier to see. You're actually going to, you don't want to punch out a whole circle, you're only going to want to punch out sort of the top third really of the circle. So you're going to make sort of like little ovals. So you're going to punch out 6 of those along the length. Now you're doing this on the folded edge, so if you would open up your vellum, you have little holes. Okay, so you're going to punch out 6 of those. So what you've then got are some little petals. Okay, so we're now going to colour in those little petals with some distress. So to create the colours on our petals, we're going to use scattered straw, distressing, and a blending tool. And what we're going to do is going to hold the tip of one, and I'm going to colour the majority of the petal with that. Okay, I'll just do that to the other ones. I've already done some of them. Okay, then I'm going to get our spice marmalade, and I'm going to do the same thing, but I'm just going to turn them around, and I'm going to do just the tip on the other end. So this will become the centre of our flower. So you can see I've just done, probably can't see on that, there we go, just done the tip in that spice marmalade. Okay, just do the other one. So you don't want to do too much of the spice marmalade because it just gets it, you know, makes it too orange. So if you wanted to, you could do any colours, of course, of these. Okay, then what you also need to do, you need to get a spare piece of vellum, and you need to punch out one of your little circles, like so. Okay, and you need to cover that with some super tape. And the reason I'm using vellum for this and not an all piece of card, this what we're creating is this little circle that's on the back here to stick our petals onto. Okay, so the reason I'm using vellum and not just a piece of card is I found that a piece of card actually showed through when I stuck it on my project, so that's why I went with vellum. So I'm just going to peel off little pieces. Now I'm just going to clear off some of this space and actually get a clean sheet so you can actually see what I'm doing. I'm going to place down my little vellum circle, and then I'm going to get my petals with the orange part coming in. I'm going to just lay that into the centre. Okay. Now I'm actually only going to push one side of the little petal down. Okay. So then when I do the next one, one side is going to be stuck down and one side is going to be raised up. So I hope you can see that. So you've got one of the little flaps is up, and you're going to keep going until you have all the petals attached. You have 6 of them all attached. So there you have it. Now your petals may be different sizes depending on how much of the circle you actually punched out, but I generally found that they was about the same size and they all fitted quite nicely. Now I'm going to get a little orange rhinestone from one of our multicoloured rhinestones. Just grab an orange one. Okay, and I'm going to attach that with some glossy accents. Now it will take a little bit of time to dry because the glossy accents onto the vellum takes a little bit of time. So we'll stick that on there, like so. Just hold it down until it's stuck there. That's sort of 4 or 5 seconds. Okay, so it just needs to dry so it doesn't move. And while it's doing that, we can create a base card. Okay, so actually this is our white A5 card. I've actually cut it down so it's the length is the normal 21, but this is 12.8 instead of 14.8. So I'm going to fold that in half and use my bone scorer just to crisp up that edge. Okay. Then what I'm going to do is, using our vellum tape, I'm going to put a little bit of vellum tape on either end. So this is to attach our strip to. So our vellum tape works so that you can't actually see where I've attached it. Okay, so our vellum tape is very easy to use. I just cut a little piece, okay, like so, and leave it stuck to my scissors. And I'm just going to position that down towards the bottom. I can get my strip so that I can gauge how far from the bottom. I'm just going to put that towards the edge of my card, like so. You can see that on there. I'm going to do another one on the other side at the same place. The tricky thing with vellum tape is not getting it stuck to where you don't want it, because it sticks really easily to fingers. Okay, then what you need to do when using vellum tape is get your bone scorer and rub on that top piece until it comes off like that. And it basically, you notice when it comes off that all of the adhesive underneath has gone really flat, and that means it's going to be nice and easy for your vellum to stick to. Okay, rub that on there. It's a bit like doing a rub on, but it's clear. Okay, so that's that on there. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my vellum that's nicely dried now. Okay, and I'm going to attach it to my card. Now you don't need to press really hard, you just sort of need to tap it on there and it's stuck. And again at the other end. Okay, then what I'm going to do, I'm just going to trim off that excess that's overhung my card. So you can see there I have got a little bit of a join where my I do my scallops, but we're going to put some flowers there so you're not going to see it. Okay, so now I'm just going to stick our flowers down, and I'm going to do them with glue dots. I'm really liking my glue dots at the moment. They're one of my favourite new things. So these are our glue dots, and so what I'm going to do, I'm going to put one just on the back of my large flower, like so. Now I'm actually going to do with this one, I'm just going to slot that in there so that it's more or less covering up that line on my card, like so. Press that into position and then attach the two smaller flowers wherever you like. Now what I'm going to do for the words, it says happy that we are friends. This is one of our new stamp sets, and new word stamp sets. So it's got the big word happy and then lots of little words that go with happy. So I'm going to use Spice Marmalade to stamp those. And what I've done is I've got them on my block all ready to go. So they're going to, when I stamp them, they're going to both be stamped together and they're going to be in the right place. So we'll ink them up with Spice Marmalade. And we can stamp them. There we go. I find it really easy to do if I'm doing two words, two stamps at once, to try and do them together. That way you get them in the position that you want them. So there's our finished card. If you have any questions, please let me know. Thanks. Thanks for watching my video today. I really appreciate your time. If you have any questions for me, you can post them at the bottom of the video, or you can contact me at my blog, www.danielskazaz.blogspot.com. If you have any questions for Kazaz, or you'd like to be put in touch with a local consultant, you can contact them on 1800 649 191, or you can contact them via the website www.kazaz.com, and you can be put in touch with a local consultant and see all the great products on the website as well. Thank you very much for your time.